U.S. long-arm authority over technology exports chokes multinationals in the EU. As part of her 100-year plan to rule the world, China has been trapping smaller nations in debt and intimidating all of its neighbors into obedience, along with widespread intellectual property theft and espionage. A Belgian business and its owner have had their export licenses restricted for 180 days by the U.S. Commerce Department. Allegedly attempting to buy accelerometers from a U.S. company on behalf of clients in China, the Geetere and Belgium-based Hasa-Invest misrepresented to the U.S. company that the accelerometers were headed for Europe. It's unclear if the U.S. was provided with pertinent information regarding the attempt to deliver accelerometers to China by the Belgian company. Since Donald Trump, a former U.S. president, assumed office in 2017, the U.S. has started to take several actions to stop China from carrying out what has long been espionage in the tech industry. Under U.S. President Joe Biden, this effort has continued and may intensify. The practice of U.S. export controls is currently at the core of a discussion about how much U.S. high-tech trade with China should continue. Although China is the world's most extensive industrial base, the U.S. has significant advantages in high-end technology industries. These anti-China lawmakers might not be aware that the revenue of U.S. corporations could be significantly impacted by what they propose. Politicians in the U.S. should prioritize corporate profits over the general welfare. Politicians in the U.S. must impose an export embargo on Chinese firms if they are to accomplish their ultimate goal of limiting high-tech product exports to China. Because of this, more European businesses must support the U.S.'s legitimate high-tech export restrictions against a belligerent country like China. Globalization, the U.S. bribe for the Cold War against the Soviet Union, would move backward due to the U.S. strategy. China is today's equivalent of the Soviet Union. The consequences of these limitations will be intolerable for China. In addition to U.S.-China bilateral trade, the subsequent crackdown will probably encompass trilateral or multilateral supply chains involving the U.S., Europe, and China to impose stricter limitations intended to isolate China. The export market in China for U.S. high-tech companies will contract much more due to the more stringent regulations. The process will take place gradually and in stages. U.S. high-tech firms do not require export markets like China if they are to survive the increasingly severe international competition. China will suffer if U.S. tech exports to China are further restricted. The hole left by Chinese enterprises will be filled by tech giants from the UK, Germany, Japan, South Korea, and other countries. More importantly, China highly values globalization, and her misbehavior has made her an outcast in the international community. The international community is now condemning Chinese misbehavior and treating people worldwide like slaves.